What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we got more new Keyforge cards to talk about, which on the one hand is lovely, on the other hand, it's kind of sad because we're like binging new Keyforge cards at the moment, and I am excited and life is good, and we're not going to have many new Keyforge cards to talk about soon, and then that's going to make me sad again because, and this might shock you to hear, I really like talking about new Keyforge cards, but I also very much like the House of Dis, and we've got some new Dis cards to talk about. So before we run out of new cards and get all sad that we don't have any new cards to talk about, let's talk about some new Dis cards, shall we? We got 5 to talk about, so I don't know, let's go alphabetical order, why don't we? And then inevitably find out that I missed one and we're not in alphabetical order, so shh. Bonesaw. 5 power, 0 armor. If a friendly creature was destroyed this turn, Bonesaw enters play ready. Now, this might remind you of a couple of cards from back in Worlds Collide, and it probably should. Alaka said that if you've used a creature to fight this turn, Alaka enters play ready. And Bramble Link says, if you've used a creature to reap this turn, Bramble Link enters play ready. And this is a very similar kind of thing, except it is if a friendly creature has been destroyed this turn. And I suppose one thing that's good about this is it's kind of in your control. Maybe you end up just playing a card that destroys your own creatures, or maybe you throw one of your creatures against one of your opponent's creatures in a fight, preferably one that doesn't have skirmish, and then you let the creature get destroyed, and then you enter play ready. It's not always going to be possible. You're not always going to be able to fight and destroy one of your creatures. You're not always going to want to. You're not always going to have an action card or similar that will destroy one of your creatures. You're not always going to want to. And if it doesn't enter play ready, you're just talking about a 5 power 0 armor creature with no real skills. I mean, if we look at something like Silvertooth, Silvertooth is a 2 power 0 armor creature that always enters play ready. And if you've played with Silvertooth a bunch like I have, you'll notice that an awful lot of the time you play Silvertooth, it enters play ready, you reap because it's got 2 power and can't really do much, and then it just gets destroyed. And that's it. I suppose here at least you do have the opportunity of fighting, because 5 power and 2 power, there's a huge difference, and you will be able to destroy some creatures, but it's not always going to end up being perfect. How about that there Double Doom? An action card, when you play it, you return an enemy creature to its owner's hand, and then your opponent discards a random card from their hand. It is very much Double Doom. It does 2 bad things in one. First, it makes your opponent get rid of one of their cards, one of the creatures on the field, and then it makes you get rid of one of your opponent's cards in their hand. And of course, the cool thing here is that you may well end up getting rid of the creature you just made them pick up. The goal here, of course, is to get rid of something annoying on the field. One of the probably going to be classic examples for a while here is going to be Eddie. Eddie increases the cost of you forging a key by every card that your opponent has in their archives. So getting rid of it means that all of a sudden they don't increase the cost of you forging and you're good. Though Eddie is one you have to be extremely careful with, because when they play Eddie they get to archive a card, and then that will actually increase the cost of you forging by 1 more. Maybe you get rid of it most of the time. This is on your turn. So your opponent's going to draw until they've got 6 cards at the end of their turn. You then make your opponent pick up a creature that's 7, and then you have a 1 in 7 chance of actually hitting Eddie. It's not that high. Of course, do remember that when a creature goes back to hand, all the upgrades on it gets discarded, so this is quite a nice way to actually get rid of any upgrades on your opponent's creatures. Something to bear in mind. This is fun. I don't think it's a phenomenal card, but it's pretty gosh darn annoying in a couple different ways. This could be fun. Essence Scale. This is an artifact that gives you an amber bonus, and remember it's an artifact, so you play it, it's exhausted, and then you can use it on your next Dis turn. And it's got an action whereby you destroy a friendly creature, and if you do, you ready and use a friendly creature that shares a house with the destroyed creature. So this is one of those cards which is kind of complicated, and there's a bit of a skill cap going on here. There's a choice to be made. You have to destroy one of your own creatures to ready and use a friendly creature that shares the house. Now, of course, the ideal scenario here is something like Bren the Fanatic. If you can somehow use this with Bren the Fanatic, it gets wonderful. Because Bren the Fanatic, when you play it, your opponent gains an amber. When you destroy it, you steal free amber. So clearly something like this would be amazing. If you've got a good destroyed ability, this is a no-brainer, and it's house cheating. If you've not got a good destroyed ability, maybe it's something like Urchin. You play it to steal an amber, but after that it's kind of a bit pointless, and you don't really need it anymore. Maybe. But this is another one of those cards where you're not always actually going to want to use it. There are going to be plenty of times where it's there, so you play it for the amber bonus, but it just sits there being unused. Now, it is an action, and it is on an artifact, so you can just leave it in play and use it 1, 2, 0 times during the game. That is an option that you have, but yeah, it's something you really need to watch. This can be an absolutely phenomenal card, or it could end up being a little bit disappointing. Stirring Grave. It's an action card with an amber bonus that archives a creature from your discard pile. Most of the time, this isn't Exhume. Okay, right, let's be clear. It's never Exhume, alright? But Exhume is so good. Exhume gives you an amber bonus, it's a discard, and when you play it, you choose a creature in your discard pile, and you may play it as if it belonged to the active house and was in your hand. So Exhume, you pick the creature, and then immediately play it even if it's not from your active house. Stirring Grave, you pick the creature and archive it. And you can still, at the beginning of your next turn, pick up that creature, and that's lovely, but it's not always going to be perfect. I mean, look, you can set yourself up for some great turns here. You can grab yourself a Helper Bot and then get some house cheating next turn. You can grab yourself a Chota Hazri and forge a key mid-turn next turn. There are things that you can do here, but the fact of the matter is there are going to be a bunch of games where this is just awkward, where you just want a creature, but you're archiving it, and then you've got to wait a turn. And you still get to reuse a creature, you still get the amber bonus. I'm not saying it's bad. I am saying that the majority of the time this is worse than Exhume. Now, if you've got something like Eddie in your deck, if you've got something going on in your deck which benefits from having archived cards, yes. Another example here would be either Data Forge or Key Abduction. They're both functionally very similar. And essentially, they let you forge a key, and they reduce the cost of forging for each card you have in your hand. So you could use something like this to increase the number of cards in your archive, to then increase the number of cards in your hand, to then let you forge a key more cheaply. The point is that you're looking at either niche uses, or it would rather be Exhume. And if Exhume isn't on the table, if it's not an option, fine, this is still a good card. You still get the amber bonus, you still get to reuse a creature earlier than you otherwise would. Both of those are good things. But you've been warned, this isn't always going to be perfect. And finally, Umbra-Fiend. 2 power, 0 armor, elusive creature. If you're attacked, the first time in a turn it does nothing. And when you're destroyed, you steal an amber. Now, obviously, this is a really, really good partner with Essence Scale. Destroy it, steal an amber, and then get to use another disc creature. That's quite nice. And important to note that Essence Scale says ready and use, so you use a disc creature, it's exhausted, destroy Umbra-Fiend, steal an amber, and then you ready and use that first disc creature again. Also worth pointing out, you destroy a friendly creature, not a friendly ready creature. Ready friendly creature. So you can use Umbra-Fiend, then destroy it to use another creature. With something like Umbra-Fiend, essence scale starts looking a lot better. So elusive is quite nice, you're going to stay on the field a bit more, and it's very reminiscent of Dust Imp. Now Dust Imp gains 2 amber rather than stealing 1, and Dust Imp doesn't have elusive, but it's a very similar kind of thing. It's a creature that you want to basically destroy as fast as possible. And there's going to be turns where your opponent doesn't destroy it, so you sit there and it's on the board and you just reap for a little while, get yourself a bunch more amber. But it can be really nice to have a creature there that you know when it goes down hurts your opponent. This ain't no Brend the Fanatic, but it's not a bad little option. And seriously, right, the combo with Essence Scale here is brilliant. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. There's a whole bunch of new discards. This is a fun house. This is a disruptive house. And we've seen a little bit of disruption here, but we've also seen a bunch of really cool new tricks, and that makes me rather happy indeed. But at this stage, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for you to tell me how happy you are about these cards. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk Keyforge and a whole bunch of other games, and do please consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some weekly bonus podcasts, all kinds of fun stuff. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.